I'll begin with a word of prayer. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, we give you thanks and praise for all of your blessings to us, especially the blessing of this community of faith. We ask your guidance within our meeting as we reflect upon what has happened and what we need to happen. For we want to do it in accordance with your will and to your glory. Give us the wisdom so to do. In the name of Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Hopefully you all have a package, and we will, I will entertain, having seen the agenda, a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Oh, actually, sorry, for a brief order of service, we do want a motion that everyone will have a vote, regardless of whether they are church members or not.
Okay, we'll do that.
So,
I'll entertain a motion that everybody has a vote, regardless of being church member.
I say,
And Chris,
No.
second Hank.
Chris, you proposed it.
oh yeah. I'm all rusty.
Anybody against?
Um,
No, we're all in favour.
Okay.
Thank you very much. All right, so given that, I will entertain a motion that we approve the agenda as presented. Thank you, Mary. Seconded, Hank.
Okay.
So the minutes of February the 9th, 2020, which was our last AGM. If you need a minute to have a look through, you'll find the pages are double-sided. So thank you for that.
It occurred to me down the hill that I could have had that handed out. You guys could have looked while I was away, but you know.
I note it started at 1 o'clock and finished at 2:45. We
won't.
need to beat that.
I motion we adjourn.
I think you skipped a bit.
Sorry. You said as soon as you look at me,
Well, we've
adjourn.
already done the agenda. We can't do anything different now, right?
You give me that eye though, I think.
No, I don't.
Orly was always the one who voted for recess too, so.
No later than 2 o'clock for the adjournment, but anyway. I will entertain a motion that we approve the minutes of the AGM of
Naomi.
February 9, 2020. Naomi has, and Wally has seconded.
Okay.
All in favour? Thank you.
Any opposed? Good.
No.
Oh, he's not asking that anymore. We're contentious, it's just all in favor.
You want to oppose, just tell me.
Yeah. Okay,
All right.
so
Pastor's report,
it is attached, but
2020.
we have it on screen as well.
Right.
So we have the proposal, the pastor's report for both 2020 and 2021 attached in your packages. What I would like to do is just call attention to some of the more interesting things. You're probably safe to sit down.
Go on. You call attention to whatever you want.
Okay. First of all, the fact that 2020 was an interesting and challenging year. I know. We had started our services on March 15th, but then we couldn't start again until June 14th. And then after the service on Christmas Eve 2020, we were shut down again. Also on January 1st, 2020, First Community Church Milton became part of Churchill, and they are now Churchill Community Church Milton. For those who may not be aware of what that is, our folks down at Allendale, Grant Hughes, Karen Hughes, Donna Elliott, John Stubbington, they are down there providing pastoral care to the residents of Allendale, and they have brought their church and its assets, which was no bricks and mortars, to Churchill. And then services are conducted every Sunday, thanks to Grant, Karen, Donna, and John. Of course, a number of people passed away in 2020 due to COVID. Communications during the lockdown, there was Bonnie, Daryl, Chris, myself, Vilma, Mary, Fran, and Joyce who did phone ministry, who called out, reached out to folks. Soul Lift is that it was installed in October 2020, and other good news is that we're still in negotiations with the town to finalize, and we're still waiting on town and provincial final approval. All right, we had our new item there, 2 new items. We had the online vendors market and we had the Christmas tea to go. Those were both new for 2020. We had the week of prayer at Bethel on January 19th, the Christian Unity service, and then Lenten services started on they ended on March 11th. Outreach, we did our 25 stockings for Servant Stock program, and then we also included the Acton Food Bank and made regular donations there. And then we also in 2020 received the pew cushions, thanks to Bethel, and thanks to Hank and John for going to get them, and then for Harold and Joyce for getting them fitted to our pews. We appreciate that not everybody worshiping that year was in person. Of course, some were either in a bubble that they couldn't come and join another bubble. Some were out of a concern on health for either themselves or loved one. And we're working. And then you can tell this was written in the end of 2020 because with God's help and lots of prayer in 2021, this pandemic will be manageable. So.
And it may never be over. And
Yes.
Here we are.
Yes.
Keep going.
So then again, we need to stand firm in the faith on the love and grace and mercy of God. We wish to continue to be a praying, celebrating, caring people. Okay, so there are more details. I've done the skin coat there, and you can read them again in your packages that you have handed out. In 2020, we had 3 weddings here. 2 of them were last names that you guys will recognize. Kate Zions and Robert Gassell, they got married here. They're Peter Zion's daughter, Marie Zion's granddaughter. And then we also had Teresa Ann Morocco and Bernard Chadillon. Sorry if I mispronounced that. And then the other one that folks around here will definitely know are Laurel Suche and Derek Hill. And Laurel is Terry Suche's daughter. Unfortunately, we had a lot of funerals. There were some from Allendale and some from Churchill.
Some from the community.
Yes, and some from the community. Michael Davies, Ina Gibson, Teresa McIsaac, Leroy McIsaac, and again, those 2 were within a day of each other from passing. Doreen White, Linda Cole, Madeline Johnson, Bruce Summers, Vera Denny, Cheryl Johnstone, Craig Cullingham, and Annie Saunders. There were some long-term supporters of Churchill. And now we're into 2021. So for that,
Time flies.
yes, I've got an hour.
Keep going.
2021 was, of course, another interesting and challenging year thanks to COVID. We were not able to gather from Christmas Eve 2020 until March 21st, and then we closed again from April 11th to June 27th. After reopening on July 4th, we stayed open for the rest of the year. The ministry at Allendale continued. It was significantly affected by COVID between lockdowns and inability to gather. Karen Grant, Donna, and John kept in touch with the residents through the use of telephone and technology. And again, unfortunately, several have passed away in 2021. Communications, the electronic weekly newsletter was enhanced. When we came back when we had to shut down again in April, it started going out on Facebook via YouTube, which is exactly how this one's going to go out to our first AGM that's been broadcast. With that, Chris and Anna have been the main proponents on making the technology work. We have over 100 people signed up. And we do have folks reading this from England, Ireland, New Zealand, and as well as throughout Canada. Just think it's only because of the pandemic we came up with the idea of spreading the gospel in another way, using a cell phone. Thank you, Chris. If you ever get the newsletter really late, it's because I had to translate it through to a usable file. Chris is much faster. Facebook page, thanks to Naomi for looking after this. And quick reminder that Churchill Community Church at gmail.com goes directly to John himself. So if you wish to reach out. Okay, so great news is we had TSSA approval for the Soul Lift for use starting August 2021. Other great news is that we're still in negotiations with the town at the end of 2021 regarding the final construction plans. We had the same for fundraising events as we've had the previous year. Because there was no walk of the cross on Good Friday due to the concerns and restrictions, Churchill had its own service for the first time in many years. We had sacraments 3 times during the year on Good Friday, Worldwide Communion Sunday, and Advent, first week of Advent. We were able to put together 30 stockings, as well as a number of the family hampers for our Servant Sock program last year. And of course, again, we did not forget the food bank in our collections. Again, many people were not able to attend service because of bubbles and that sort. It's 3 pages on here, it's 1 page on your side, on your packages. And so hopefully, this sounds familiar, in 2022 this pandemic will be manageable and many of the restrictions lifted. Life will continue with a new normal, whatever that may be, but we rejoice in the faithfulness of our God, who continues to be a presence with us as we individually and collectively proceed along our journey of life. So, and this is a report, 2 reports for your benefit.
Do you want the weddings and the
From John.
funerals?
Oh, sorry,
The
yes.
next page.
Yes, please. Okay, so we had 1 wedding,
That was at Elco.
yeah. We had 1 baptism here.
Yep, we did.
And unfortunately, again, we had a larger quantity of funerals than normal. John George, Helen Fitzgerald, Jim Barty, Peter Blake, Phyllis Patrick, Leo Ewan, Jake Vreerman, who was a long-term supporter of Churchill, Elizabeth Bolton, who was a member of ours here for several years, Dory Prevost, David Papillon, Faye Byers, who again is connected to the church through the Byers family, and Larry Woods, who is John's brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law, yep.
Yes. So, we do pass our condolences on to all families who have lost somebody within the last couple of years.
So, does anybody have any questions with regard to those 2 years' worth of reports?
I just noticed, in regards to the givings and stuff like that, well, not givings, but you mentioned that you involved in a lot of community stuff and assisting the other church, sort of thing. I was wondering, maybe this is where it'll be addressed. Do you also do things like in other missions, like elsewhere other than around here? I just
Yes.
wondered.
We did the, earlier this year, we did the flights to Ukraine.
Oh, I see, right. But we don't support like a membership of people somewhere else.
We have, I believe, we will see 1 person
Oh, okay.
who we support overseas
Right on.
through that which had been started by Allendale, by the first Milton, and they asked if we would continue that, and we said we would. So you'll find that
Okay.
as part of an expense.
I see.
Yes.
And then how is that distributed? Like, I mean, is that negotiated like that? Do you decide how much you want to put on your envelope, so to speak, or is that just so much taken out of, who designates how much goes to what and where?
The board does.
The board does?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, no problem on that.
And you'll see what the last 2 years have been done.
Okay.
And we have a minimum that we seek to use for third-party purposes, right, outreach and so on. And sometimes we exceed that, but we haven't gone below the minimum. So as far as the pastor's reports, I put that before you. I guess we need a motion to accept.
I'll make a
We
motion.
don't need a motion to accept. No, you just got it.
I'll second that one.
Right, Councillor. You've all got it. Thank you very much. All right. Then having said that, then we will need a motion to accept these, but
Yes.
our treasurer will speak.
Okay.
Sure,
So, I had a wonderful budget planned for our 2020, right? We were going to do a wonderful thing. And then there we go. So our budget for 2020 just kind of went out the window with COVID. So, thank you. That is the entertainment value of today. Woo. Thank you. Okay, in reality on 2020, what did we do? We had 76,000, and everybody has copies of this, both 2020 and 2021 in your pamphlet, if it's easier to read in front of you than on the screen. We had a total of $76,655.70 donated to the church, whether that was through the envelopes, whether it was donations that are made for our stockings, whether it was in a memorial, or what the biggest part was our soul lift. That year we raised $45,000, almost $46,000 for the soul lift in 2020. We also had loose offerings, and at the time we'd had multiple groups through here for basement rentals, whether it was the Sparks or Denny's Bus Line. We did have rentals. You can notice on our events that there was a distinct change in what events we had. We didn't have an Easter breakfast, we didn't have springtime, we didn't have a chicken barbecue, and we didn't have any community dinners. However, we did have an income. Keep in mind that what's on this side is your income, what's on that side is your expenses. We did have an income of about $1,300 from our first chicken order. And our Christmas tea, we made over $3,100, which was a groundbreaker for us. We had never thought to be that high on our Christmas tea. We also had some money coming in from our solar panels. As many of you know or have seen, we do have solar panels on the roof of the church. The cost of putting them in will soon be paid off, and we will continue to get the benefit of them. Okay. And then we also, that year, had a redemption of investment of $10,643. Our expenses, we had a total of $107,656. Of that, the biggest chunk was $73,000 to the soul lift. Then we have the breakdown for the ministerial expenses, the music, the memoriams, what our fuel costs are, which once again, the board has chosen to stay locked in with a fixed price propane. So then that manages to keep our prices capped. We have our hydro and water, we have our insurance, we had maintenance that year. Okay, and then we had another, for charities in total, we spent $1,118 on charities. And then the CCCW had expenses of almost $50. So that was not one of our better years, quite honestly. By folks not being here, we did not get the income on the envelopes like what we're used to for collection. That is what it is. I would also like to point out, and he doesn't know I'm going to do this, ministerial expenses were lower, as John took a leave of pay. He didn't take a leave of absence, he took a leave of pay. So, given that there was nobody here, that was wonderful. Okay, anyone have any questions on 2020? Yes?
Am I missing the garage sale?
That wasn't in 2020, that was 2021 and 2022.
Okay, it's in the minister's report for 2020, which is why I asked.
Oh.
Garage sale September 12th, 2020. Maybe that's fine.
No, makes me,
Okay.
I will find that.
Maybe it's possible that we didn't do one in 2020.
Well, if it was
I
written,
think
then
what
I was not
September was
gonna.
like in 2020.
Lots of things.
Were we open? Were we?
We would the point man to walk down at that point?
Possible,
Well,
Sorry.
but I think we've done 2 of them.
yes.
We have, but I'm not sure.
And they wouldn't have been in the
when
same year.
No, but we did last year, this year. So
2021.
if we've got 2020 listed as a garage sale, I will go digging through it to find out where it is. Where the income is showing. Okay. Any other questions for 2020?
Yeah, because it's on both.
Okay.
So I would entertain a motion to accept the financial report
I'll make that motion.
year 2020. Hank so moves
I'll second.
and Lynn seconds. We'll get to everybody.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
And at the end of it, we don't go home until everyone makes a motion. Okay. So now we have 2021. No, if you got questions.
No, we're just looking at 2021.
Oh, okay.
It's good. It's good.
So 2021, we had income of $33,896, and then we had basement rental of $1,314. I'm sorry, I'm questioning the soul lift income. Sorry. Let me back up. Yes, 2019, 2020 were the big years for the Soul Lift fundraising, for specifically Soul Lift. 2021 was a year that donations came in more in memorial of somebody than anything else. So, sorry for the confusion there. Loose offerings and basement rental was $1,300. Our events that we received, there was the JD Sweet Chicken. Again, for that one, that was a really good year. We had $2,500 come in on that. Vendors market was almost $1,500. The chicken barbecue should actually be garage sale. I do apologize for that one. I will. Yes, chicken barbecue, I'm sorry, is likely dead. Christmas tea, again, that one, we thought 2020 was a banner year. Well, 2021, we made $3,600, which is stunning. And then we also had our solar panels came in at just about $5,000. So our total income for the year was $62,000. And then we had our expenses, the ministerial, the Soul Lift had a $23,000. So what's happened with the Soul Lift is people, we've paid Severia completely, and then up until the most recent bit of work, we had been wholly paid up for Walnut Ridge. So we're still in good shape there. We had maintenance of $3,700. And then we had our expenses that went along with our event raising, and we did $1,400 in our charities, both between $445 for the servant stock program and another $968 to the charities that have been done. Question was raised regarding what charities we donate to. We have Children Believe, which is where Aname Tenembro lives. She lives in Ethiopia, and that is the child that we sponsor overseas. We also donate to the food bank, we donate to Links to Care, we donate to Halton Women's Place, and sorry, I'm a little blank on the others, but I'll get back if anyone, I'll confirm the other ones that we have. But we do make sure that our donations are not necessarily just only kept local, but are kept meaningful, right? As they have meaning to the congregation members, those are the ones that the board considers. The board has final say on where the donations go. So if anyone ever has a thought of, have we thought of this one, have we thought of that one, by all means, please let us know. Speak up, say your piece, all that good stuff. All right, so our closing balance at the end of the year for 2021 was $14,363. That is strictly our operating balance, right? It is not all the money the church has. Now, I was supposed to keep this brief, so I made charts to save you having to follow all this. The first area I have, and this is only on the screen, we have what is our collection and donations. So you can see we have had 2016, we had our highest year at 35,000, and then in 2020 and 2021, we actually had decent years between 33,000 and 34,000. So lift has been broken out for this portion. Solar panels are getting us a very steady income between $4,600 to $5,000. That's wonderful little change to have every year. Our fundraising, not involving the soul lift. We had a couple of years where we were 14,000, 13, then 12 as the items that started to peter off. 2020 was our lowest at 10,000, and then we had 21,000 in 2021. So very good efforts on the part of everyone who assists in fundraising. And then the soul lift, this is the part that's truly amazing. We had one year where we had 13,000 or 1,300, and then we go 55,000, then a total of 93,000, and now our amount is sitting at the 21,000. Pretty good.
Is that, so that 21, that last figure there, is that what's left on the lift, or?
That's what's left in the income basket.
Oh, I see.
Because as each year goes by, the income basket gets reduced. Okay. Expenses, we have had a very consistent expense between ministerial and music expenses. Our outreach is generally hitting, we had one year where we had 2,800. That was when we did the Syrian refugees into town. And then we've had our pretty minimal expenses in outreach. Operating expenses have been bouncing between 14,000 was our highest and 10,000 was our most recent. So that's in good numbers. Projects, you can tell that we've had some significant projects over the last couple of years. In 2019, we put the waterproofing around the church. And then in 2020, 2021, we had our expenses put out for the soul lift. And then our fundraising expenses are there as well. And we generally keep our fundraising expenses fairly minimal due to the fact so many people donate, right? They donate their time, they donate their efforts. Okay, so what do we have? I alluded to us having more money somewhere, right? This is, in this little cubby hole I've got this, and then this is what we have in our investment. Okay, so we still have a $25 member share at Tandia. That is just simply a holding fee to be a member at Tandia. It is a credit union. We have profit shares again at Tandia Credit Union. They're pretty steady, $300. Our eVest account. At the end of December 2021, we had $53,000 in there. Okay, and that is a $42,000 increase. So as we were dealing with our funds coming in, instead of keeping it all in our general operating, which gets nothing for interest, we moved it to the eVest account. We have our term deposit. We redeemed that in 2021. That was, so a change in value of $10,500, total redemption of $10,619.84. Sorry, there's an extra digit in there, but $10,000 was our value there. Term deposit number 7, we redeemed in August 2021. That again had $10,609. We had our term deposit number 8, we redeemed that in September 2020, so that's $10,500. And then we still have a term deposit that is in until August 2022, and that's currently at $10,847. Okay. So, with all this thrown at you, please let me know what questions you have.
The last one there, you got August 27, 22 that's passed, so is that reinvested?
It was, but keep in mind, this is to the end of 2021.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nope, no problem.
So the bottom line is that in the general account, we had 14,000 and change. And these are the investments, so that's another 64,000. So we've got 78 as of the end of December of last year. This church had $78,000 in its bank, various banks. Okay, having put in the lift, having done all of the waterproofing that was necessary to be done. Okay, so this we're looking backwards here. Okay, that's where we're at. Yes, sir.
What, I just noticed one thing, that was to do with solar panels. So in the, was it 2021 or 2020 that you were saying we're almost paid off, so are we now receiving
No,
from
so
the solar panels, like benefit to the church now as our money, or do we still have to pay out yet?
yes would be the quick answer, but let me kind of put some caveats around that. So we looked at, as a board, it was looked at what's return on capital investment, right? So it cost us to put those on. So that capital that we, capital expenditure is what we are looking at being paid off. We continue to receive the payment from the hydro every month based on what we put in from church hydro onto the grid. They measure it and they pay us on that. It's not until the end of the 20th year that we will then have the right, or then we will be able to use our own hydro
I see.
and then sell the extra to the grid.
Okay.
For the benefit of those that weren't here at the time, roughly, the solar panels cost $30,000. The repair to the roof that was necessary anyway, and doubly necessary to hold the solar panels, was another $10,000. So we invested $40,000 in this project. We have a 20-year agreement, getting $5,000 a year. The initial outlay would be repaid after 8 years. Okay? The next 12 and thereafter is gravy. Okay? So that was the decision by the board at that time, which was, and we got in just under the wire because the province, we got in December, the province stopped the program in January. Okay? So we just got in, and Guelph Solar maximized the number of panels that we could have, which I think is 29. And the program itself meant you couldn't have more than 30.
So under the 20 years, where are we?
After the 20 years,
No, but
What number year
within
are
the,
we?
what number year are we now?
It was put in 2016,
Okay.
and
So
6 years.
6
Yeah.
years this year.
yeah. So keep in mind that this is using bequests that have been given to the church. That 40,000 came out of bequests.
Any other questions about 2021 finances? Is there a motion to accept the finances as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Hank. Pat will second. Any further discussion? All in favour? Thank you. That's passed. Board of Managers. What did they do?
Okay. So, Joyce sent over her report, so, again, due to pandemic, we had very few board meetings. We did actually get to have the chance to practice out Zoom. It almost worked well. Give or take. It was a little iffy for some of us. So the Soul Lift construction is still ongoing. Okay, the lift is installed and in operation. Chris and Walter have been trained by Severia on how to operate the lift, including in case of power outage. Right? So keep in mind, if you're on the lift and the power goes out, we can get you, as long as you're not below ground, we can get you back up to, we can get you down to ground level. And obviously, if it is a fire, we will have 4 people from the congregation each hold one limb and carry you out. Sorry. There's been no communication between the church, the town, and Walnut Ridge. So what we're referring to is, town has not quite approved the operation or the how to phrase this, the construction that was done necessary to the lift. They approved us putting in the lift, but they had some caveats about or concerns about our actual construction. So we have, as you know, we took down that one wall that had been there. Double-sided Varathane plywood was considered to be a firewall in the eyes of grandfathered in building. Once we took said Varathane plywood down, now we have to go to a new fire code. And with that, we've been given the approval to operate the lift. We've been given approval to by TSSA, so we are not against fire code. It is more of a technicality. What we're looking at, or sorry, some of the proposals that had been put through was to take out the last 2 pews on the Denny pew and the one in front of it. Yeah, Swaghammer pew. To take those 2 pews out and build an outside exit through the sanctuary. Well, I'm going to preemptively hit on a bit of 2022 business here. Peter went to his engineer and then went to our architect to say, would the town accept this as a separate option? If you can envision, what they're looking at now is based on fire zones. What is the distance, or how much is captured within a fire zone before there is another fire break? If you think of the back half of the church, nothing has been done to change its structure, so everything there is grandfathered in. Problem we ran into was at the front end, where we had the wall come down. Now, all of the sanctuary, the narthex, and the stairwell is considered one fire zone. With that being one fire zone, the congregation cannot use or rely on this door beside me to be the safe exit point in case of a fire, right? Because that relies on that fire zone not being on fire. So they will still allow the back to be one of our exits for down here. And then we're left with a what next? So the Sunday school would need to stay as it is, would have to have 2 exits, right? One on the other side of this wall, which has always been there as a door, and then another one somewhere. To remove the unnecessary double dooring there, we're going to actually close in the wall that is the other side where the Sunday school door used to be. That is going to be closed in. Where this slate is right now, that is going to be opened up and create a door to mimic what the kitchen door is on the other side. Okay, so then that way Sunday school can then come in here. Now, of course, you have this room where everyone is with only one exit. So the window that is on the south side here, the one that is furthest east, so this first window, for those that don't do north, south, east, west, you're welcome. That window is actually going to be enlarged to then become a doorway, an emergency exit to outside. It will take us out to the parking lot. Yeah, it is going to be as protected as we can get up here by being on the south side instead of the north side. It is as furthest point away from the propane tank. You know, that came into consideration. And it also then allows for the congregation to safely evacuate as required down to where the pumping building is for the town, right? In case of an absolute fire, we obviously are not all going to get in our cars and drive away. That's going to then cause issues with the fire department. Best off, we evacuate. The other part with this being a separate fire zone, and this is only because it's a perfect opportunity to say it, whoever is locking the front door, can they please make sure that this steel door is closed? Right? We're not supposed to keep it jammed open. I've left it jammed open. So this is speaking from, you know, confession's good for the soul.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's the current of where we are with the soul lift. The other part of it is once we're done the construction and we can verify what it looks like afterwards, that's when we're going to start putting the plaques up.
Sorry, you want to put the what?
Plaques for the donation plaques?
Probably here.
Yes.
Just to clarify, if I may, whilst the engineer made this suggestion has not yet been approved by the town. Okay? And we did specify that if we did do this, and if the town did approve it, then my thought would be that this would be a push bar from inside, and that there would be no access into this place from the outside.
That's a good thing.
Okay? Because you've already got the access into the building from there. This is to meet the fire code to get out of the place. One here, one there. Because basically you're saying that everything that side is one zone, everything this side is another.
Including the Sunday school.
Including the Sunday school, and both sides need 2 exits. So, if that's in, everybody in here has possibility of either up those stairs or out that door, that's the 2, and upstairs is the back door or the front door. And theoretically, that solves the 2, but the town still have to approve. That's
So
all.
does that mean we will not be touching the pews then to go out there?
That's correct.
You're hoping.
That you're
That's
you're hoping for that.
Yes.
So we need to pray for the town.
We always.
That's what we're here for.
We just need to do it more publicly and privately.
So, in 2021, we made the decision to keep the half wall paneling and half original clapboard, which as you see is as it stands right now. That all got cleaned up and painted. There was also a decision to put a 5-year platinum maintenance package on the lift because that allows us Sunday service. If we find out that it's not working, we have a chance to get a repairman up to have a look at it, and if somebody gets stuck in it, we've got emergency contacts, as well as fire department. Don't ever worry, we have fire department. And then thanks to the fundraising committee and all those who work with them for great addition of the JD Swede food fundraisers and the adaptation of the vendors market and Christmas tea to be contactless or minimal contact. Chris Mercer set up a safety corner in the kitchen. There's a fire extinguisher, first aid kit, gloves, and the church address all right as you go into the kitchen. And a big thank you to Hank, John, and Melinda for all their snow clearing efforts. It is what keeps us going in the winter. You guys are wonderful. Natalie Medland had resigned as our cleaner. A new student, Jesse Valance, has taken on the position, and that's in 2021. And Sparks returned to the church in 2021. Now, to further the bottom 2 points, Jessie Valance has let me know that she's been given got a job as a coach at the gymnastics club. So kudos to her. She's going to be able to follow something that really interests her. We will have that position open. I have approached one member of our congregation, see if they're interested. If anyone knows of somebody else who might be interested, let me know. And then Sparks, unfortunately, will not be able to be here this year because they just don't have enough the leaders to be able to host another troop. So, unfortunately, we won't have the Sparks. Okay. Any further questions?
Can we receive that for information?
Yes.
Yes, let's do that. So we've all received that for information. Anybody got any thoughts? No, where are we at in the...
We're almost done.
We are.
I told you. You gave me a time.
Election of officers. You have a page that says proposed draft 2022. I missed a name. So, with great apologies, on the church board should be Grant Hughes.
Oh, yeah.
My fault. Sorry, Grant, if you're watching this. So, for the purpose of good order, because I hope this is just really a formality of making sure we're all in order. And this will last for this year, and then we'll have another AGM, hopefully in February of next year, right? And we'll look at the 2022 year. Okay. So, I'm looking for a motion to accept the proposed committees for 2022.
Make that motion.
Thank you, Hank. And Naomi will second. Any questions? Let's just say that people need to ponder. We have a minimum of 5, maximum of 10. But being on the board doesn't preclude all the wonderful work that you have done as individuals, because I know you have, and I'm not going to name names. But many of you have done some wonderful things in and around this place. Okay? Just as volunteers, just as the board is volunteers. So as thinkers going forward, we've had a proposer and a seconder that we keep this for the moment. And then we'll see how things unfold in the future. Any further questions? All in favour? Thank you. That's carried. Any other business? Speak now or forever hold your peace, as I said yesterday.
I know really, well, it has to do with me.
Hang on a second. Walter, hang on.
Yes, Pat. Music.
Sorry. The organ.
The order.
I understand it might need a transplant. I don't know what it needs. But I was just wondering if possibly if somebody could, if it could be looked into to have somebody check it. Because evidently having the problem, and I know the other gentleman, Sid, that's the instrument he wants to play.
Yes.
And I have to admit, I really appreciate Sid's help. Not that I don't love you all, I so appreciate serving you. But I do appreciate him playing as well on his Sundays.
Yes.
And I don't want to lose that. And I just was wondering if somebody could come in and have a look at the organ. I wouldn't want you to spend money on something that wouldn't be worth it. But, and I'm not saying it's not, but do you know what I'm saying? Like, have somebody come in and really assess it, to see, professional, to see what
Look at both
the issue.
instruments.
Because for the fact that it's not reliable when you need it, that's not fair to the congregation either, or to the person playing it. So I'm just asking if somebody, that could be looked into.
So actually have both instruments, don't they? Because yours is giving us all
Well,
issues.
yeah, the electronic, when it's the organ, not the organ, the electric piano part on the keyboard has got a whine to it. So,
Is
other
it,
than what we're doing
is it the electronic piano setting? Or is it the
It's-
actual?
well, it comes
I
out.
don't know if you ever
Just a
noticed
second,
something's.
It comes out more when you're playing the electronic setting.
Okay.
It comes out with a kind of a high pitch kind of sound.
You know, hear her sometimes hit a key, and all of a sudden it'll go yelling, loud, and it's not part of her actual.
Are you sure it's not me? I think a lot
I
of
pick up on it
doors
because
But
if she
anyways,
hits a certain key, it will.
I wouldn't know that if I do.
And I keep saying to her, what do you do to do that? She said, I don't do nothing.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, so both instruments could use to be looked into.
Okay, so
Somebody
to
can.
answer that question, Sid has already given me the name and number of the person that Bethel uses, because it is the exact same organ maker.
Good, good, good.
So, and they're good at this, this is what they do.
That's perfect.
He also suggested that we make sure that we check what they're going to charge us before we read anything.
Most
Oh, yes.
definitely,
Well-
most definitely,
It's important to note that.
yeah,
So I will also see if they can do anything on the keyboard.
okay, thank you.
Is that the same, like Marie had to have, somebody come, there was a problem with the organ? Well, Marie hasn't been here, what, 4 years? But previous to that, there was something? Is that the same company or the same person that came at that time?
I don't.
I have no idea who came
I
up
wanna
with it.
say they were from Waterloo, but I don't know.
I have no idea. Sorry.
I don't know if you were to go back, as she's saying, say 4 years, would it show in there who you said?
No,
paid
because
out?
I've been on the board now for 6 and I don't remember it.
Okay.
I don't
Well, I
remember
just
the
thought-
expense going through.
Paying-
Yeah, I
paying
don't
out.
remember the expense going through.
What likely would have happened, to be honest,
Choice.
is that Marie would have contacted the person.
Oh,
The person would have come,
Yeah.
and Marie may well have paid the bill out of her music fund at the time.
Oh, okay.
Remember, we had a choir music
Choir and
fund?
music, yeah, that's possible.
So she ran her own business, shall we say. Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah,
possible.
Wally just said here, he thinks it was
I
10
think
years.
about 10 or 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing, I
Yeah,
think.
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
They
That it's
take the
doing
back
now.
off and they get inside and there was some mice or something, shoot some wires or something.
That's what it's almost acting like there's something touching
It's a
something.
bare wire touching something
Yeah.
and they had to recoat, cut the
I
wire.
just was not,
and do it in there.
I don't have enough.
I just
I
happened to
don't
laugh.
remember who did it, but I
Yes.
remember they
I just happened to laugh that it played the night before the funeral.
Yeah.
It did not play the day of the funeral, and it played the day after the funeral.
That was Marie.
Yeah. It was.
Some kind of weird sense of humor. Anyway, your point is very valid. We will seek to maintain our musical instruments and our musical instrumentors.
One of the key things I think on behalf of the board I can say is if you notice something, anything, you notice, hey, there's a wet spot growing here, or has anyone noticed that if you stand here, your hair starts waving in the wind and we're inside? Anything, right? Whether it's you're outside and you're looking at something, feel free to talk, right? Not just mumble to each other, but talk to any other member of the board, because we all want to make sure that the church stays as viable as possible, as long as possible.
Is there any further questions, comments?
Meeting adjourned.
No, not yet.
Oh, you already said that, didn't you?
No, I will give Wally the look when it's time. Are we all good?
Yeah.
Well, just before Wally speaks, I want to thank you for being here and doing this and being involved in the life of the church in this way. And I want to thank Megan for using the technology and putting it all together and to make it last 50 minutes.
Now, if
So
anyone
you've
wants,
got 10 minutes to chat, providing Wally speaks. What did you want to say, Wally?
On behalf of John, I'd like to propose we adjourn.
You don't even need to propose, there's no seconder, we're
No,
done.
second, no, we're done.
Okay,
Thank you,
so
everybody.
if there's any sandwiches left, please, we want them to go. Likewise, fill your pockets with the desserts. There's fruit veggies.
Use a box if necessary, or just put it
a revision,
Who?
you're not on our list.
The list, you're not on it.
What list?
Megan,
It's not on our list.
Which was on that list?
No, because
Not on here.
you're right. I'm on Sunday school. Well, okay, so Harold, you were playing with the toys earlier, you and I. Okay, we'll add
He's
you.
on it.
Yeah, to the church.
Yeah.
I was going by that list.
Yes, well, that's, yes.
That's because that's when Megan typed.
I would like heat in the basement, a fireplace put down here.
Are you kidding?
There's spots upstairs anyways.
I know my spots upstairs
Oh, yeah.
with the piano that's electrified.